sticker shock at this Chevron. A gallon, $8.21.
It's insane work. It's too high. I definitely won't be coming here for that.
And I just actually could not believe my eyes when I saw that $8. That's wild.
Here in Los Angeles County, the average for a gallon of regular unleaded is now well over the $5 mark, spiking 17 cents overnight. As Eyewitness News reporter Madison Weil tells us, the price is now more than $8 a gallon at one local gas station.
If you filled up your tank this week, you probably saw it. Gas prices across SoCal once again on the rise.
I mean, I drive Uber and I'm just getting killed right now. I mean, gas prices are so high and, you know, they were high before this war.
According to AAA, gas prices were already rising in line with seasonal norms when the joint U.S.-Israel attack on Iran sent oil prices soaring. Prices at the pump now up almost 50 cents a gallon in just 1 week since the war began.
Hopefully something happens about it. I really can't do nothing but complain.
The average price of a gallon of gas in California is now over $5. And it's not just the war in Iran. Experts say California's regulatory policies are also driving prices up as in-state gasoline production is down.
California gas prices have jumped 40 cents in 2 weeks. You're not crazy in this respect. You notice the gas price is going up again. We had a nice little break for a second. Well, now up 40 cents in 2 weeks. That's because Gavin Newsom allowed the refineries to close and leave the state, and we are now feeling it. The statewide average is now standing at $4.58 per gallon. That's up from $4.46 just a week ago and $4.18 just 14 days ago. That's a big jump, guys. And that's according to AAA. Energy experts say that the spike is tied directly to shrinking refinery capacity in the state, specifically Valero's refinery, which was a key supplier to Northern California. That's in the process of getting out of town. This follows other pullbacks, including the closure of Phillips 66 in Los Angeles, which has reduced California's ability to produce its own gasoline. We're no longer independent, and that has driven up costs at the pump. This is a new report from Bloomberg saying that California is increasingly relying on imports from the Bahamas. And apparently they are taking this long route via the Panama Canal, which adds to the price. We took in more gasoline imports last November than at any point in our history. 40% plus of our gasoline came from the Bahamas. And that just means that that long trek to get here is costing us more money. In 1982, California imported 6% of our oil from foreign sources. Today, we take in 70%.
Wow.
Remember, there are all sorts of economists who watch this kind of thing who predict that our gas prices could be up to $8 or $9 within a year or two. San Francisco has gas prices at $4.80. Los Angeles, right around the same. UC Davis warned that by August 2026, just a few months away, when the full impact of the refinery closures is realized, California prices could climb by $1.21 per gallon if nothing changes. Thank you, Gavin Newsom.
Yep. Gavin Newsom. And do not let them blame this on the war. Okay. Just as she mentioned, it's green energy experiment. That's what this is. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, again, this green energy experiment in California may be heading toward a full-blown economic and national security crisis. For years, this is not new. I see you guys in the chat talking about, or somebody is saying it's Israel. No. For years, Governor Gavin Newsom and climate activists promised that they were going to shut down oil production and squeeze the fossil fuel industry would lead to a cleaner and more prosperous future. Now, one of the largest energy companies in the world is sounding the alarm. Chevron is warning that California's latest climate regulations, it's regulations that they don't want to depend on our own country. They want to go outside and get all their gas according to the green energy experiment, okay? They're warning that the state's remaining refineries destroy hundreds of thousands of jobs, and send gas prices skyrocketing. And this warning comes at the worst possible time now, as tensions in the Middle East threaten global energy supplies. All right, we're going to get into this. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you all as you watch this broadcast. It's time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-hosts. Of course, we have Nicole Bennett.
Hey, y'all.
And Shelly E.
Good evening.
All right, we got a lot to cover tonight. Before we light this fire, do your part, tap that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications. We are live here on YouTube and Rumble. If you're on the go, you can catch us on Apple Podcast or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. We shout out every super chat. So drop your thoughts, show your love, and join the conversation that the mainstream media wishes didn't exist. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. I want to get right into this because the chat is going crazy. People are going back and forth on this. Maybe I'm wrong. Nicole, is this the war or is this leftist green energy policies? What are your thoughts here?
No, we talked about this earlier in the year when he was running people, all of the refineries out of the state. So this is how this works. If you tax people out of your state and you make a specialized gasoline, carbob, right? Or CARFG, but I call it carbob. You make a special gas that they use in South Korea, they use in India, but nowhere else in the United States. Mm. And then you run the people who make that for you out of your state. You're down to one major refinery, the Chevron, but you've lost so much. Phillips 66, Valencia. I mean, they've lost so many people because of these super tight regulations. The same reason why their population is leaving. The regulations are strangling the life out of this state. And for whatever reason, they just can't seem to get by this governor who has his eyes on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue so much that he can't see what's happening right in front of his nose. What happens to those millions of drivers when they have no gas? Do they all go electric? Their grid can't take it. What happens then? What happens when fire and police can't get to you in an emergency? You know, California is world renowned for very high gas prices. And that was kind of like a badge of honor for him, right? What it really means is only elite people get to travel. Only the wealthy get to travel. Poor middle income people, you get to stay home. And that is a big disparity. And I'm surprised Democrats are letting them get away with it. I mean, isn't that the people that they say they represent? Poor and downtrodden?
I'm not surprised. They're doing the same thing with electricity. Here in Maryland and in other leftist enclaves, they're forcing people off of off of gas by outlawing certain gas-powered machinery and appliances, and they're pushing us towards electricity, and the grid can't sustain it. Mm-hmm. Same thing with California. But what are your thoughts on this, Shelly?
Well, let me start off by saying progressive policies pulverize the people they purport to protect. That's what they do, and that's what's happening. There's no competition in California and Maryland, for that matter. Okay, this is very similar to the trend, if you will, or the trajectory of healthcare. There's no competition. The states are controlling the markets to the point of they're trying to manage and manipulate every little factor to the point that the people don't have a choice. So therefore, the costs are more. In California, the same thing. This part about transporting the oil through the Panama Canal, when you have refineries there in state, well, because these people are so green conscious, the only green that's really accumulating is what's going to Governor Newsom's and the Democrat Party's pockets, because they are benefiting from these deals that they are making, these backroom deals, political deals, That's what they're doing. Again, the same thing with healthcare. No competition, no open up the market, if you will, to many providers or several providers that can be in the market to supply for supply and demand. And not only that, not only is the gas or the gas expensive, of course, diesel, but this is going to raise up the cost of goods even more because diesel truck drivers have to pay out the yin yang for the diesel to transport. We were talking about trucks last week, I think it was. But when they have cost more to transport those goods, oh, it's really going to get ugly. Not only are people going to, I'm going to say, they're not going to have electricity or gas, the rolling blackouts, they're not going to be able to afford the food.
This is, folks, this is an actual emergency. This looks like it's going into an emergency. California deliberately dismantled its own oil industry. Okay. They used to produce much more of its own industry, but over the past decade, they did new drilling permits have been restricted. Again, refineries have been shut down and scaled back, and regulations and lawsuits have made it harder to produce oil locally. This is what President Trump had been talking about back in 2016. We need to produce our own oil. But instead of increasing energy independence, California chose to phase out fossil fuel production entirely. Folks, do not let them say this is due to the Iran strikes, all right? I mean, yes, not yet, but if this thing goes on long term, we may see some issue with that across the country, okay? Certainly not yet, all right? This is due to these leftist policies, okay? So again, this Middle Eastern conflict does expose the vulnerability now when they have already been using oil outside of the domestic oil within the United States. So it makes sense that now, as we enter this geopolitical reality, and these tensions are exploding in the Middle East, the places that depend most on foreign energy are going to get hit first.
Absolutely. Listen, and when we talk about drill baby drill, you know, it's a catchy slogan, but it really talks a lot about national security. Absolutely about national, because this is what's going to happen. Let's just, you know, put it out there. This is what's going to happen. California is going to kill itself. It's creating political suicide as we speak. There'll be gas prices that no one can afford, especially poor people. They can't get their kids to the doctor, to school. Police and fire are going to have a hard time getting around. Things that Shelley said are going to get more expensive because diesel's going to go through the roof, and no one's going to want to deliver to them because, you know, if I go to, let's say, Arizona and I'm paying as a truck driver $5 or $6 a gallon for diesel, why would I go to California and pay 25? No, thank you. Walking away from that deal. But what they're going to do is turn to the Fed and say, help us. Help us. We're Americans. That's a part of the pact of being, you know, the United States of America, right? But when you see this happening, it's like watching a slow speed car crash. It really is. The exodus is permanent. California is a beautiful state. Absolutely drop dead, gorgeous scenery. But they have absolutely ruined the landscape, the culture. When it gets too expensive to live, and Maryland's not far behind. Maryland also has beautiful. I had 10 minutes this afternoon on the beach. Just 10 minutes. That's all it takes. Just a little bit of sun on my skin. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. So I won't be quite as raspy, but just a little bit. And you think, man, I love this state. And then I come home and open up my bills and I go, damn, I hate it here. Ooh, I hate it here. It's the leftist policies that make it hard to live. Make it so hard to live. I talk to my friends in other states and tell them what's going on here. And they're like, why do you live there? What's keeping you there?
You couldn't pay me to move to California. If somebody called me, and let me tell you something, this is a lot coming for me because I hate the winter. I hate to be cold. I don't like the snow. Winter. I love 80 and above is good for me. 80 and above is my perfect weather. Okay. If somebody came to me and said, I got a $500,000 home for you, free, it's yours, but you have to live in California for the next 20 years, I tell them no. I Tell them no. Not only because of the regulations, the policies, the taxes, but folks, the lawlessness. The lawlessness. Take a look at this next clip. So, with some of the most soul-crushing gas prices in the nation, okay, now felons are in there stealing the gas in California. Take a look. This is clip 2.
Aerial footage of a huge crackdown near the Port of Oakland targeting an alleged diesel fuel theft ring that hit gas stations up and down the state.
Well, we believe they're selling it on the black market. You know, Oakland, Port of Oakland, there's a whole lot of trucking companies back and forth. So with the fuel prices that we have, especially for diesel, it's pretty high. It's right around $5 a gallon. So I'm sure they're making some money selling that on the black market.
More than a dozen law enforcement agencies, several from the Central Coast, descended on the Port of Oakland Wednesday, serving multiple search warrants and finding evidence of fuel theft that numbered in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. The investigation all started at this Shell gas station in Greenfield that was hit twice last year.
The suspects came back and they alerted our PD, and our officers were ready, and they actually made an arrest during that second incident. And so that kind of led to the investigation. Reached out to some of our neighboring agencies and found out that some other gas stations had been hit.
During the raids, 8 stolen cars were recovered, several firearms confiscated, multiple people detained, one of them arrested for a firearms violation. Greenfield Police, which led the investigation, believes one crew was responsible for the theft of diesel fuel, targeting gas stations in the early morning hours.
There were different methods that we've been able to identify through our investigation that they stole the gas. I'm not going to get into the specifics of what mechanisms were used or in which manner they were used, but they were able to successfully get the gas from the gas pumps.
Now, Greenfield Police say this investigation is still wide open. Several key leads are still being investigated, and more arrests are likely to follow. Reporting from Greenfield, I'm Felix Cortez. Dan, Aaron, back to you in the studio.
Wow, Shelly, I mean, they're stealing the gas.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that. The underground economy, because guess what? They want to move their goods too, right? People want to, I mean, they ostensibly they have vehicles, things like that to take care of. But this is another thing that's going to happen. Those gas owners, gas stations, places like that that sell gas, they're not going to be paying the taxes if they don't have gas. That's also going to hurt the California economy. They're also going to be able to pick up, hopefully, and move. They're going to take jobs with them. Okay, that's also going to hurt the economy. When they move, they're going to ostensibly relocate their homes. That's also going to take property taxes. So this is going to have a trickle-down effect all over the state, and from individual lives to the state economy, if you will. This is going to have a deleterious effect. This is, again, no competition, overly regulated to the point where the people, the actual people and their goods and services are being squeezed and pretty much wrung dry.
Wow. Nicole, I honestly think this is becoming like it's by design.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it is. I mean, and because you see Democrat leaders across the state following that same playbook, right? Like Maryland had that all electric cars by 2030 mandate here in Maryland, which is crazy to me. But California has an all electric mandate. Our power grid can't stay up in a storm. Let's say that. Let the wind blow hard and I'm bye, y'all. I'm gone. I'll see y'all next week. It's not coming back. So when you think about how hard it is and as much energy as people use nowadays in their homes, imagine what it would be like if we didn't use any fossil fuels. First of all the plastic things are gone. Let's just wrap that up. So everything is going to be more expensive. Every single thing is going to be more expensive. And you're not going to get the level of service that Americans are very accustomed to. This is coming to California fairly quickly. I like this reporter because he really had his head on straight. He says, I'm not going to tell you how they stole it, or the cop says, I'm not going to tell you how they stole it. You know why? Because the line would be around the block for people to come and steal the damn gas. At some point, the people will revolt. At some point. And I hope they give them all the peaceful protests that Gavin Newsom can tolerate. These sanctuary, uber blue, uber liberal states are going to learn a very hard lesson. When you take the creature comforts away from people, you take just away the comfort and you leave nothing but the creatures. It's going to get ugly. It's going to get real ugly. And he's going to be trying to sit at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And if he doesn't get that, he'll move to Delaware like they all do. You know why they moved to Delaware? The taxes is why they moved to Delaware, or lack thereof. Meanwhile, you're stuck picking up the pieces of the rest of your state. It is unconscionable. And I do believe, KJ, like you said, it's by design.
Yep.
Yeah, I know we have some super chatters here, folks. Thank you guys so much. And as you come in, hit that like button. We have over 300 people watching. We got to get those likes up. Hit that like button and subscribe.
All right, we have Kung Fu CJ again, our first popper here tonight, our super chatter. Thank you for your $2 super chat. Hello, PAP family. California sucks. Okay, you couldn't have said it more clearer. We also have, is that Sin Lorna? 1331. Thank you for your $10 super chat. California gal here. Our corrupt government has created this. Environmentalists are leftists. Yes, when they make the environment their God, absolutely. And it's not too hard for them to do that. But like KJ said, all of you out there in the super chat land and pop land and our popper off chat room, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Go ahead and do it right now. Also, don't forget, we do have a Discord channel going over there, and drop your comments there as well. And we will keep you rolling, or you can keep us rolling as you drop your chats.
Absolutely, folks. We got a lot more show to cover tonight, but want to say, if you love what you're seeing on here, we are one show on the Metro Conservative Media platform. All right. So this is Poppin' Politics. We are smart, edgy, and conservative. All right. You can also catch Just the Guys podcast. They're every Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Just the Guys podcast. That's the channel at Just the Guys podcast. You can catch a live show at 6:30 p.m. over there. They provide you an all-male perspective on news and pop culture, and they really concentrate on how communism and Marxism are infiltrating all areas of our lives. So definitely check them out. And then you can find me on at KJ Christian Conservative. I provide a biblical perspective on news and pop culture. We've been really grilling in on the dangers behind James Tallarico. Folks, he is a sheep in wolf's clothing. He is running for the Senate in Texas. He did just beat out Jasmine Crockett, and now he's coming for the general election. We cannot let him get in, folks. I hope Texas, who's here in Texas, shout out, let us know if you're seeing him around in Texas, and seeing, what is the word on the street there. I really hope he is not gaining any headway or leeway in the polls. But we talk about him and really dissect his agenda and others like him who come off as this biblical Christian style person, but nothing biblical. When you really dig into what he's saying, it's nothing biblical. So that's us at KJ Christian Conservative on the Christian Conservative YouTube channel. All right. Also, we have merch.
Yes.
Nicole, you're going to talk about that?
Yes. Do you want to support our channel, especially Poppin' Politics? Shelly's got her shirt on tonight. Give me my money back. Listen, our merch store has everything. If you're into tie-dye, there's a great tie-dye shirt. If I had a conversation with someone that's really on fire for politics, Republican politics as of late, and he made a comment about that shirt. Black, white, not black, not white, American. Don't let them divide us. We were watching some clips on the news, and they described everybody first by their race or by their religion, instead of just saying a man was walking down the street and was mugged by another man. No, it was a black man walking down the street, robbed by a white Islamist. I mean, like craziness. They're doing this purposely, folks. Get your merch and wear it proudly, and let them know that we're pushing back on those narratives. Our merch has hoodies, we have t-shirts, we also have bags, we have stickers, all of these things that, I'm a big laptop sticker fan. I'm gonna show you guys here if I can get my laptop going the wrong way, right way. I'm a big time sticker fan here on my laptop, and I can tell you these stickers speak volumes when you can't. When you're in a meeting and they say, "Oh, everybody pull out their laptop, go ahead and pull yours out, we'll give me my money back," and let them ask you where you got it from, and it drives people to our show. It also is really cool to wear your politics on your shirt because it starts conversation, and isn't that what we want to do as conservatives? We want people to hear what's really going on from people who really understand it. So get your merch. It's not expensive. It's going to be great to wear around in the summertime. Apparently, it's supposed to be 80 degrees again here tomorrow in Maryland.
Woo!
Doggone KJ. I'm about to die, y'all. I'm over here dying a horrible death, and KJ is partying like it's 1999. Girl.
75 is fine for me. It was nice today. I did have on shorts today.
What? Legs out. Okay.
It was nice today. Today was a nice day, so I got a little beach time in. But until my allergy medicine kick in right, I'm suffering. Pray for me, y'all. Suffering.
All right, folks. Yes. So as you come in, hit that like button. We got more to talk about tonight. Speaking of Maryland weather, and we want to talk about some things going on here, folks, that you all need to watch out across the country. All right. So again, we're talking about these leftists. Well, you know one, you know all. Speaking of is our Baltimore City Mayor, Brandon Scott. So he has made national news recently. Again, we've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks. There was an expose uncovering many of the luxuries, the regulations that they put in Baltimore City, and then also he spent a ton of money on what was it, Shelly? Just luxury vehicles. Yeah. Taxpayer money, folks. Taxpayer money. As we've talked about before, we're all Baltimore born and raised. The city continues to suffer. Well, want to take a look at this next clip. I have it here on my screen. Of a video of the Baltimore City mayor being the reporters are questioning him about this. And does he provide data? Does he try to push back with some professionalism? No, he gets snarky. And this is par for the course with him. Take a look at this. And then we're going to bring up a guest, another Baltimorean that has been sounding the alarm about many of this. Take a look.
We'll just stop you right there. We get it. We understand that your station has this severe right-wing effort underway. We get that. But you also, you guys are dragging this thing out and also not including all the facts. A vehicle that was purchased in 2023 is not the same price as 2025. Right? You have to understand that reality. When you look at, I'm talking, you can listen to and let me talk, please. We heard your question. You've asked the same idiot.
Oh, now that's nasty. Keep going. What?
Idiotic question now for 3 months. Idiotic question now for 3. Look at, I'm talking, you can listen to and let me talk, please. We heard your question. You've asked the same idiotic question now for 3 months. We understand that when you look at a base price for SUVs, base price of SUVs now are, as you know, between $90,000 and $100,000. You're talking about a police vehicle with police equipment on it added on top of that vehicle. It's very simple. And when you look at these are not astronomical costs, right? You guys in your station in particular would never ask the president of the United States how much the beast costs. You wouldn't do that. You would never do that. This is ridiculous. Let it go.
We looked at the cost for Governor Moore as well. His car costs about $78,000 to $80,000, and he drives across the state. Governor Homan's car cost $70,000. Now, again, that was bought when he was in office.
That's a long time ago. And I also would
inflation calendar. It still didn't cost $100,000, and you didn't answer the question.
I did answer the question. Just because you didn't get the answer that you wanted in your racist slant, there's one thing. But what I will say to you again is then, if you looked and see, you would see, did you see how many cars the Governor Hogan bought when they were in office, how much of the fleet they replaced, and that again, for the residents of Baltimore, that they can hear through Trump's media station in Baltimore, which is Fox 45,
Not true.
that this is what they're asking us. This vehicle that you're talking about replaced a vehicle that was ridden in by Mayor Catherine Pugh, who has not been the mayor of Baltimore since 2019. These vehicles in any other place are replaced on a cycle of 3 years. The other vehicle replaced one that was ridden in by Mayor Rawlings Blake, who has not been.
Folks, I just want to say really quickly, this is not an Expedition. This is not a Tahoe. It's not a Yukon. It's a Wagoneer. That is a very expensive vehicle. Okay. He could have gotten any of those other vehicles. He got a Wagoneer. All right. Look, we're going to continue.
The mayor of Baltimore since 2016. So you cannot look at us and tell us that we're being wasteful when we're actually had been driving vehicles long past their shelf life.
All right. So as you saw, he said asking questions about this is racist. So, folks, we have a Baltimorean here who has been sounding the alarm on this and much more as far as what's going on in Baltimore and around the country. Joining us tonight is he goes by the name of Show Love the Poet. I'm going to make sure I'm saying that correctly. Hello, how are you?
Peace, love, and happiness. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us.
It's an honor.
Were you able to see the video backstage?
The video that you just sent? Yes, I seen it.
Yeah. So
I actually made a clip out of that video.
Okay. So
yeah, I just find it hilarious.
What are your thoughts?
Man, it's just funny how we can always go down to the race baiting.
Mm-hmm.
This is how a lot of black politicians get out of their situation, by race baiting, right? The thing about it is, the Baltimore City is in a $3 million deficit right now. So that's what he's not including. We're in debt. So while we're in debt, you're spending an extravagant amount of money on a car. Now he says the life shelf, the life shelf of these cars before that was written by Mayor Pugh. He said 3 years. But how much of the average American citizen or the average Baltimorean rides a car fresh off the lot for way more than 3 years? Not even done paying off the car within those 3 years. See, the problem is these individuals get in position in our city and they start to think they're better than us. They want to live better than us. They want to drive better than us. They want to talk better than us, right? And when we get to questioning what they're doing, they want to go down to the race baiting to attack the emotions. What they're surprised to see is that we're now coming with intellect and we're ignoring the emotional part.
Mm-hmm.
There was an extravagant amount of money, and it seems more like he's trying to be like Donald Trump because he's calling Fox News out saying it's Trump's station. Since when has Fox News ever been a Republican station or a conservative station? Never. So what he really should have been saying, he's being called out by his own people, literally.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us, Show Love. Thanks for making it on. So look, as you go around Baltimore, I guess you're born and raised, or certainly, you're here a lot. What do you see from the people? What are the people saying? Because the question becomes, like, people like us, how does Brandon Scott and his ilk, how do they keep getting elected? But when all of this is coming out, so what are you hearing in the streets, so to speak? You in these streets?
Unfortunately, like I keep trying to push and tell everybody, we don't vote. We didn't vote for him.
Mm-hmm.
Over 400,000 people are in the city of Baltimore. Only 200,000 voted. Okay, and I just found this out from a meeting that I had yesterday with a running senate and a running lieutenant governor for Maryland. We were sitting down talking and discussing. I was speaking about how the hood don't really vote.
Right.
So when everybody's saying that the black community continues to vote for Democrats, that's just not true. That's the propaganda being put out there, that the black community votes for Democrats for Section 8 and for food stamps. But in our reality, we talk about the black community, we got to talk about zip codes. So we talk about zip code 21217. I wonder how many of those people vote. maybe 20 to 30% of those people are Muslim. And Muslims don't get involved with politics. So what I'm saying is a lot of people do not vote that come from the black community. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't even really know what's going on with Brandon Scott. They might see little clips that a far leftist have put out there, how they might have chopped it up. They might see those clips on social media. But a lot of people are not into it. And that's why we're failing. We're not taught to love politics. We're taught to not talk about politics, not talk about God. So this is a different time that we're living in now, because right now politics is getting interesting, and we're starting to understand that God is really real, right? By watching politics. So unfortunately, a lot of people don't even be knowing what's going on. Now when you talk about other people in Baltimore, a lot of people think that Brandon Scott is a clown. But here's the problem. People think he's a clown off of things that don't matter. Oh, I remember yo went to Mervo. He was a clown back in the day. Oh, yo phony. This and the third. Yo don't never want to get a haircut, right? But they're not. A lot of people are not into the politics, so they can't really call him out for the true clown behavior that y'all just called him out for. Calling out racism every time we're questioning him about serious stuff that matters, our taxpaying dollars. So while we're paying an exuberant amount of money for a BG&E bill, this man finds the time to buy a Jeep.
Yeah. Nicole,
so unfortunately, that's the only way I can answer your question.
Yeah, so I absolutely get it. Sometimes people don't connect the dots, right? They see him on socials and they kind of look at his persona and not how his policies are affecting their lives. So you brought up BG&E bills. Power bills are very expensive in our state because they continue to close. I should say the Democrats continue to close our power plants. So I live very near Calvert Cliffs. Great power plant, gone. So you see people with $500, $600, $1,000 electric bills for one of the shortest months in the year. So do you think now that it's starting to hit people in the pocket that they're going to start looking at him a little bit differently, that people in the city are going to say, I can't afford all the things I used to be able to afford, but look at him, look at all the things that he's doing. You know, his wife is at the Beyonce concert with VIP tickets. They're having crab feasts at the Ravens games in the Skybox. And here I am trying to scrape together enough just to make ends meet. Do you think this is where the dots will connect for most people?
Well, that's why they try to shadow ban people like us, especially me, right? This is why I get shadow banned. I mean, I didn't just start popping on Instagram. I've been on TikTok pushing this stuff for over 3 years. I got over about 100,000 followers on TikTok between two pages. Now, mine's like I said, between two pages, 47,000 over here, 53,000 over here. And that's because they continue to try to silence our voices. They put money behind our voices, right? And the reason I'm saying is because a lot of us in Baltimore City don't know. And this is why they do what they do, because they automatically assume that all their constituents are stupid. No, I'm not trying to be funny. It's like it was a very old interview, and I got that clip too, of Jasmine Crockett when she was having a meeting just like this, and she said, "My constituents don't even know what a progressive is, so I'm going to run it as a Democrat, but really I'm a progressive." So there's a difference. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference between a regular, formal Democrat with no name in front of him, no socialist name. You're not a socialist Democrat. You're not a liberal Democrat. You're not a progressive Democrat. But when you do not believe that your constituents even understand the difference, then you can say and do what you want. And when we are starting to pay attention, you just use the race thing. And that's supposed to beat it all the way out. So conservative voices like ours get shadow banned because our people that might not want to watch the news, as they're scrolling on Instagram, they're like, oh, what's she talking about? And you're saying something completely different, and you're bringing your facts. So unfortunately, a lot of people don't know that what they're doing is the cause of our BG&E bill. A lot of people just on the phone cussing BG&E out, but they don't understand the politics behind it and who we really need to be talking to. That makes sense.
Absolutely. Let me change gears a little bit, because one thing that we see people like Brandon Scott, like Jasmine Crockett, and many other Democrats, they advocate very strongly for the trans agenda. This here is in Maryland. This is in Wheaton, though. So I think what's that? PG County, Wheaton, Maryland.
I think that's in Montgomery.
Montgomery County. I think it's Montgomery County.
It's in Moco.
Okay, so for folks who don't know this area, it's sort of going towards DC, and they're at Wheaton Mall. And take a look at this, and I want to get your comments on this, show love. This is clip 7.
Hi everyone, it's Emily. I'm here at the Wheaton Mall in Wheaton, Maryland, and despite this store being hiring, they have beautiful dresses. I just went in and asked if I could be hired, and they told me that I couldn't because I'm not a woman, and only a woman can work at that job. So Cinderella in the Wheaton Mall, you're on notice. Sorry.
Hey yo. I need that clip, yo. I need that clip. My opinion on it, right, is that all right, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a realist, right? So one thing that I try to do is make my theories go along with data. Okay? So it's kind of hard to pull up data with this. However, I will get your data soon. The black community, and that's why I'm speaking about zip codes, right? For all due respect, do not accept that. So it's being snuck into the black community. This is why when I'm telling people that they're doing stuff like this, no one believes me. Because when they go online, a bunch of other people that look like me as Democrat would say that's right-wing propaganda. Right? Because as you can see, that happened in Wheaton, but that wouldn't happen in Mondawmin Mall.
Right.
That happened in Wheaton, but it wouldn't happen at Security Mall. Because these malls are actually in the hood. Right?
Wheaton is not the hood.
Exactly. But this is what people in Baltimore need to know. Just because it's not happening in the hood, or it's not happening in the hood as flamboyantly yet, it's coming.
Right.
They do have little programs for teenage queers or teenagers that want to be trans right there on North Avenue, where the bridge at, North Avenue in Charles.
Mm-hmm.
They got little drag shows and drag lessons for teenagers. But the average Baltimorean don't even know that. You get what I'm saying? Because if the average Baltimorean knew that, it would be dangerous. Not because they're drag, not because they're trans, but because you're trying to include children. That's why it would be dangerous.
Right.
So the problem with that is a lot of people in the hood don't even believe that that's real, because we're fighting against people that look like us, sound like us, talk like us, even claim to be where we from.
Right.
And they are telling them that we're lying. That's why we need as many clips like that as possible for when it's Maryland, so I can show people like, look, you see what's happening in Maryland? This is real.
Well, Shola, let me ask you something else. Talking about North Avenue, Baltimore City, Charles Street. There's other programs, if you will, that go on that. Tell me where the gap is in understanding these so-called wraparound services, Monsey, Safe Streets, all of these programs that are supposed to be helping people in Baltimore City and in the surrounding areas. What's going on? Because it seems to me, again, there's a gap. There's either a gap or either a denial, and certainly it doesn't help because the mayor is allowed to not even disclose what is really going on in those programs.
And here's the thing about that. That's one of the reasons why people say he a clown. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because you say Safe Streets, you got these people out here, you got these orange shirts on, yet it's blood stains on them orange shirts. Those orange shirts look real pretty. 2 minutes later, it's blood stains all on it. Right? Unfortunately, this is why I say unfortunately. You got genuine people that have joined these programs and that really put the work in because they truly believe in making the streets safe. You got brothers who have really came home from prison after doing 25 years, 15 years, that really have influence and that really want to make Baltimore safe. Unfortunately, you also got other people within the program that have their own agenda. And this is why you'll see a lot of people branch off, and you start to see more programs opening up because they realize what's going on, and they realize that I can't be here if I'm really trying to do what I'm trying to do. And what happens with that is this, right? This is where it get dangerous. They start making their own programs trying to help, and real conflict starts to happen. Because now you're intervening with other people's money.
So the bottom line, let me sum up what you're saying. The bottom line is, it's not really about the people. It's about the people behind the scenes that are making money off of these people. Is that what you're saying?
For sure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because again, you got people that come home from prison, or people that probably haven't even been in prison, but that's very influential in the streets. That may have sold lots and lots of drugs in the streets, that have owned blocks. And a lot of these people are sorry. A lot of these people get to grow older. And as they grow older, they realize what they've done.
Mm-hmm.
And when they realize what they've done, they're just grateful to God that they got a second chance to try their best to make it right. Even though they know even though they do know no amount of good work that they can do can ever truly make it right, because lives were lost. But damn it, they just want to try. And a lot of these brothers get into these programs trying, and they're really using their street influence and everything to work this out. And what's happening is, once they realize that they got a lot of black devils that they got to go around, you know what I'm saying? That this is really not a place for you to turn your life around. They're lying. Now they find themselves in conflict. Even me, myself, like I tell people, it's not safe doing what I do.
Right, that's what I was just thinking.
Oh no, it's definitely not safe. Some of those same programs will take me out. Some like real shit. So it's not safe doing this, right? But some of us are willing to go to battle and go to war because we really love our people.
Mm-hmm.
And the only unfortunate thing about it is a lot of our people are asleep and don't understand what's going on. So it's like while we're fighting for them, they don't even know we're really fighting for them. So that's why I stopped talking down on these programs you're speaking on, because I realized that as I'm talking down on a lot of these brothers, a lot of these brothers didn't know, and some of these brothers are still waking up realizing that it's a bunch of bull crap going on. Because as this money is being funneled and as a scamming is going, they throwing it around, they ain't getting no money for it.
Mm-hmm. That's the point.
They putting their lives, their reputation on the line so they can try to make Baltimore great again. Oh, I like that. I should get a t-shirt that say "Make Baltimore Great Again."
Oh yeah.
I should put that in y'all merch.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we should. That's a good idea.
Great again. That was good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, please, we got to get you back on. You definitely should go on our. We have another show on the platform, Just the Guys show. You should. They need you on that show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So where can people find you? Please share any social media, your TikTok, where people can find you and follow.
Yes. Show Love the Poet on TikTok. It's with a D and the A, right? Show Love _poet on Instagram, and Show Love Taylor on Facebook. Also, I have a YouTube conservative duo.
Oh,
okay. Well,
I get shadow banned on everything. Trust me.
Well, thank you for coming on tonight.
I keep pushing.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, thank you so much. We really appreciate you, and we got to have you back.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you, and it was an honor to come. I thank you for it.
You're so wonderful. Thank you for sharing with us.
Yes, I take care.
All right. All right. Yes, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That was some good information.
Absolutely.
And I hope you understood what because this is not just signature to Baltimore. This is how the Democrats scam is run all over the country. And when good people get into these programs, these nonprofits, as Shelley's, the wraparound programs, and they're actually thinking they're trying to assist the people that need it, trying to get the services to people that need it, they get pushed out.
Absolutely.
Because they are getting in the way of the grift.
Right.
Absolutely. You figure $2,400 per resident is what the state of Maryland spends on Baltimore City. That's the second highest in the entire state. $2,400. So if I'm a grifter and I say, well, I'm gonna put this program together to help kids stay out of trouble, and you've got this program and it doesn't really keep kids out of trouble, but it has an endless supply of children, go ahead and do that quick math. Just keep blinking your eyes and seeing the dollar signs. But here comes somebody like Show Love. Show Love says, listen, I'm just trying to help my community. If you can help us with some juice or, some chips for the kids, that they're not even really asking for the same amount of money as these quote unquote organized organizations. You don't think that organization is going to push him out of the marketplace? Because one, you're playing with my product. We're not really trying to liberate these children. We're not trying to give them better lives. I'm just trying to keep my center full because this is how I make my money. And that's the sin in the grift. It's not just the stealing of tax money. Because if it was a stealing tax money thing, we would be on here for the rest of our lives talking about everybody, taking a little bit of pork off the plate. But when the money doesn't get to the people who are actually doing the work, who are actually helping the community, therein lies the sin. That's what's sinful. Because the people, like he said, who are putting their lives on the line, their reputations on the line, who want to do it right, are getting pushed out of the marketplace by the people who just want to see it continue. They want to see it continue because it feeds their pocket. That's the sinful part.
I liken it to a physician or some kind of medical organization using people for their organs. You're going to take out their organs one by one, but you're going to keep them alive, so they can come back and give another organ. All the while you're telling them, oh, well, you're really sick. I need to take this organ from you. But they're just draining the people, body, mind, and soul. That's what they're doing. Not to mention, like you said, the financial, the tax part. But this is what they're doing. This is how I'm going to liken them now. They are literally draining the people.
Yeah. Folks, we have some super chatters here, Shelly.
We do. We have here, is this Kung Fu CJ again? We have you for your $2 super chat. Kung Fu says he is speaking facts. Yes, real Baltimore here, real Baltimorean there, Show Love. We also have,
Kevin Paulina.
Kevin Paulina. Okay, Kevin Paulina, thank you for your $5 super chat. Kevin says, brilliant, beautiful, bold, and a true blessing. Thank you from my heart for such an important show. Thank you, Kevin, for that. And thank you for joining us tonight. Melissa Jean Foster, thank you for your $10 super chat. Melissa says, I'm in Cali and she's spot on. He can't blame the war. I'm in the Central Valley. That's right. And we're expecting $10 again by September. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Wow. If I saw $10 a gallon, I'd be French I'd be moving it. Can you imagine $10 a gallon?
I got two words for you: razor scooter. Everybody's legs would be in terrific shape.
I said last week we need to go join the Amish community. They got horses and buggies. I mean,
listen, come on down here because they do. They have the buggy races on Friday night.
Right. That's true. Somebody's horse. I'm riding somebody's horse. Yeah, this is ridiculous, folks. It really is. But folks, you got to vote differently. In California, I mean, you need to get them out of there. These progressives, because as Shelly always says, progressive policies, what is it?
Pulverize
the people they purport to protect. That's right. There
you go.
Yep, absolutely. All right, folks, please, as you come in, hit that like button. We need, it helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience. And we have a goal to hit 250,000 subscribers, folks, and we can only do it with your help. So as you come in, hit the like button. Also, share this video, post it on your social media, send it in a DM or a text message, because people don't know this. Just like Show Love mentioned, he brought up a very good point. The Democrat Party is very sneaky. And I think sometimes because we all are always constantly watching the news, we're always in the know about these things, we think that a lot of people know what the Democrat Party is pushing. And honestly, he made me kind of think, because sometimes I forget that. I'm thinking everyone's seeing the things that we're seeing, but they're not. And folks, we are fighting a war here, a war of the mind, because the Democrats have the education system on lock, because public schools, they have, and almost some private. They also have the churches on lock now. Many of these mainstream churches are not preaching biblical truth. They're preaching social gospel. All right. They got the movies and the culture and pop culture. Everything is leaning to a leftist slant. So in order to get to the truth, you really have to research and you have to search for it. And unfortunately, particularly our young people are not doing that. And so many of these people are falling for the lies.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we need you to help us get this video out in front of a wider audience.
We see that in practice today, KJ. A couple of people were on socials talking about how the United States is losing, quote unquote, the war with Iran because we're running out of ammunition. We're running out of bombs. Nothing could be further from the truth. Nothing could be further from the truth. But because they've said it more than one time on social media and some Yahoo made a TikTok, suddenly it's absolute truth.
Wow.
So now you got people out here saying that's not true. It's ridiculous. But this is the world that we live in now. And Show Love was right. It's the world that was created. We don't have a chance, or we don't have the luxury of just laying back and let it happen to us. People are going to have to step up in a big way. I say this to people who are very political all the time. We are not normal. Most people don't get up and check the Western Journal the moment their feet hit the floor. I get up, thank God, and all the TVs go on. And I'm asking Google to tell me what I missed while I was sleeping. And I'm reading papers and I'm on the phone with my friends. That's at 4:30 a.m., folks. So we're not normal. We're not normal by any stretch of the imagination. But the information we have needs to become normalized, right? We need people to understand that just because your grandma was a Democrat doesn't mean that you have to be a Democrat. Sometimes family outgrows situations. You break that generational curse where these people are telling you that the only way that you can be a part of the culture, the only way that your Black card swipes is if you're poor, downtrodden, or ghetto. And nothing could be further from the truth. But that's the voices that they hear over and over and over again. And again, the more they hear it, the truer it becomes. So we're definitely having an uphill battle.
Right. You're absolutely right. And it's more important now than ever, folks, because for us here in Maryland, California, Minnesota, these places where they have large sanctuary enclaves, this is a very dangerous time. I want to say, and this is coming from someone who lives in Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland. If I didn't live here, I wouldn't go to a sanctuary city, folks. I wouldn't. We saw what happened in New York City with this weekend with the bombing in front of the mayor's residence. Right. People, we're going to probably see more and more of these types of incidents. And unfortunately, in sanctuary cities, they are breeding it because they are not people. This is where many of these illegals are going because they know they're not going to be bothered as much outside of these areas. Take a look at this next video. I know this isn't planned, but this is sort of breaking news. So right here, Fox News is saying that they have intercepted conversations, I believe, in the Middle East, saying that radical Islamists are now activating cells all over the country. Where do you think most of these cells are? Sanctuary areas. Take a look at this. Oh, do I have?
Meantime,
can you
an
hear
alarming report of threats outside Iran. ABC News reports Iran may be activating sleeper cells. Quote, the U.S. has intercepted encrypted communications believed to have originated in Iran that may serve as an operational trigger for sleeper assets outside the country. If true, further illustrating Secretary of State Marco Rubio's point. We are fighting a terrorist government.
The United States is currently engaged in an operation targeting one of the world's leading hostage taker, the world's leading sponsor of terrorism. They are trying to hold the world hostage. They are attacking their neighbors. They are attacking neighboring countries, their energy infrastructure, their civilian population. They're attacking embassies. This is a terrorist government. This is a terroristic regime. And we are seeing them conduct terrorism using nation-state elements, using weapons like missiles and one-way attack drones. And the objective of this mission is to destroy their ability to continue to do that.
But Iran's
all right. So we got to keep our heads on a swivel. Nicole, what are your thoughts there?
Listen, if you live in a blue area, sanctuary area, you need to keep your head on a swivel anyway. Let's just call it what it is. One of my offices is in a sanctuary area that has seen some ICE activity with good success. Because it's, crack of dawn before the protesters are even out of bed, or they're still in Starbucks waiting on that coffee. But what ends up happening is that the people who live in these communities are terrorized by the so-called people that are there, undocumented, as they like to call them. But what ends up happening is they ruin the entire community. The entire community starts to act different. It moves differently. You'll see older people not coming out, younger people not coming out. And all you're left with is the criminal element. That's all you're left with. And then go ahead and talk about activating sleeper cells. People are going to be so afraid to come out of, if you live in an area that's a sanctuary area and you can't get out, tell me you're not a hostage. Blink 3 times if you need some help, because you're going to need some help. It is ridiculous that I don't know how they get away with governing this way, with saying we value the illegals more than we value American citizens, more than we value the citizens of Montgomery County. These undocumented, unvetted, unknown people in our communities who are hell-bent on doing us harm are more important than our thriving communities. It is ridiculous to me, but I see it every day. And it's causing the community to be different. Once it was vibrant and lively and people were walking and outside and doing the thing, it's not like that anymore. It's dead. It's absolutely dead. The culture has changed significantly. There is a pall of fear that is over the community, and it's not fear of ICE. It's fear of the new people that are moving in. I hate to say it, it was bad enough when you just had MS-13, but now you got some TDA coming. Now you got some Iran sleeper cells coming, because they know they can operate with impunity in this area, and it's killing the community. It's absolutely killing these communities.
Absolutely. Shelley, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I would alert everyone. Again, these sleeper cells, one thing that works, quote unquote, in their favor is time. Okay. Time. They are very patient, if you will. And another thing is that their mission, the death mission, they look forward to it. Okay. Mm-hmm. So they have nothing to lose. Keeping your head on a swivel, just being alert wherever you are. Sanctuary cities, yes, I believe that they will, I guess I'm going to say, embed there, if you will. But don't take anything for granted. Don't take anything for granted. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not trying to scare you, but I don't want you to live in fear. But don't take anything for granted. And remember, the policies that we have allowed over years, certainly the last 4 years, to allow anybody from anywhere to come in at any time and do anything they want, that's not to our benefit. That's not to the benefit of your children, your grandchildren, your friends, and your neighbors. It's not at all. And our politicians who have allowed this, we need to get them out of here, get them out of office, make them afraid of us. That's how it's supposed to be. And keep in mind that these policies we saw, like you said, KJ, in New York. Well, yes, some police responded, but if I remember correctly, not a lot of police. It doesn't seem like there were a lot of police that were available or maybe willing to go out and sort of put themselves on the front line. Why should they? When you expect that they have been torn down, defunded, all kinds of other, things thrown at them, mocked, whatever, berated. Why would they? I mean, for $60,000, $70,000 a year, nobody would. That's a reasonable decision to make. But again, these sleeper cells, they're looking at all of this. They like the politics too, because they look at and they look at the moment and they read the signs, so to speak. They get their little notices, they go out and embed themselves, and at the right quote unquote time, they will arise. We need to take our countries, our cities, and our states back out of the hands of these leftists, these progressives, these Marxists that hate our country, and ultimately they hate people, Americans, patriots who are standing up for our country.
Agreed.
All right. And in this next clip, we have Tom Homan. So he has just revealed Minnesota counties are letting ICE into the jails to arrest illegals. It's actually an unprecedented cooperation, but it's now happening. Take a look, clip 4.
General Mayor Fry and law enforcement officials about increasing coordination in a lawful way between the county jails and ICE to avoid public safety threats being released back in the community. While we had our differences, one thing was clear: we all committed to public safety for all who live in the Twin Cities. We have made significant progress under the direction of President Trump, working with state and local officials here in Minnesota, and I expect that to increase in the coming weeks. We continue to have discussions. I'll have discussions this afternoon. We currently have an unprecedented number of counties communicating with us now and allowing ICE to take custody of illegal aliens before they hit the streets. Unprecedented cooperation. And I'll say it again. This is efficient, requires only 1 or 2 officers to assume custody of a criminal alien target rather than 8 or 10 officers going into the community and arresting that public safety threat. This frees up more officers to arrest or remove criminal aliens. More officers taking custody of criminal aliens directly from the jails means less officers on the street doing criminal operations. This is smart law enforcement, not less law enforcement. It's safer for the community, safer for the officers, and safer for the alien. This coordination also makes it far more safe for the Twin Cities.
All right. So you all know they got rid of Kristi Noem and brought in, for this, she's still in the administration, and brought in Tom Homan. And as I say, Homan don't play that. He got in there and he said, y'all will let me in the jails. Homan don't play it. He's not messing around. Shelley, your thoughts?
Yeah. Absolutely. From the beginning, I mean, this is what Tom Homan does, and he's right. We talked about this. This is safer for the officer, safer for, I don't know, a criminal, the illegal or whatever, but it's safer for the local police officers. It is more efficient. Tom Homan is right. It frees up. Look, now you can go and get 10 illegals from different facilities around the state for 2 officers for every facility. This is good. This is good management. Is much better. Not only that, I guess for PR purposes, it should play positively to the administration's hands, particularly in all this mess that has been going on. So this is a good thing. I'm going to say this hesitatingly. I don't want to give what's his name, Waltz and Frey. I don't want to give them too much credit, but okay, they're cooperating.
Nicole, what are your thoughts here?
I will say this. Donald John Trump is the master of deal making. Master of deal making. Because, come down the rabbit hole with me so you can kind of get a view of some things that I see, right? So you have a governor that calls the president and says, hey, bad things are happening. I'm losing control. And the president said, I know. We see it on the nightly news, right? We see you losing control, but how can I help? Because ultimately, he is the president of every American, not just the Americans that voted for him. He says, okay, I need ICE out of these communities. I need them out of the streets. Okay. What will you give me in exchange? Free access to the aliens directly from jail. But I can't say anything and you can't say anything about it. So I've got to save a little bit of face. He's the master of those kind of deals. And I can say that President Trump when I tell you he's a great deal maker, he's a fantastic deal maker. And I think everybody got a little bit of pie and everybody's doing really great at this point. And Minnesota is going to continue to see decreasing numbers of illegal aliens. And as their ICE is making its way across the nation, you're going to see more and more blue places fall the same way Minnesota fell. Minnesota was their shot. And when he said, I'm not letting up, you can not until you cry uncle. I'm going to tell you, Tim Walz made that call and probably sang a few choruses of Uncle to get the help that he needed to get his state back under control. Because again, many of those people who were paid rioters are not from Minnesota. No. Those were not Minnesotans. It became battleground zero for everybody who had an axe to grind and all the things that were happening. And the people who actually live in Minnesota were being ravaged. So in that regard, I give Walz a little bit of credit of knowing when to say when. Knowing when to say when.
All right.
All credit to President Trump. He's doing a great job. Good job.
Absolutely. We have some super chatters here.
Yeah, we have some super chatters here. We have Allie, who's been a member of our Freedom Seekers Club for 11 months. Thank you, Allie. I have a praise report, she says. It's been 6 weeks since I lost my job, and today I got a job. PTL.
Oh, congratulations,
Allie. Congratulations.
I'm excited for you.
Yes, we're going to send you a shirt. We're going to send you one of our a cup, a mug, so you can drink
your gift, Allie. We don't know which one yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're going to go through the store and see what we want to send you. That's what's going to happen.
Congratulations.
And we have a new member of our Freedom Seekers Club, Severe William. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for being a new member. Cool. Don't forget, everybody else out there, hit that like, share, and subscribe. Also, you can comment on our Discord channel, and like the shirt that KJ said, or the cup, or the sticker that she's going to send Allie. You can purchase those items at one stop shopping. Mm-hmm. Go to metroconservativemedia.com and click on whichever show you want to buy merchandise for, and the store is there, all conveniently there for you in one website, www.metroconservativemedia.com.
Absolutely.
Yes, you can get your merch, and merch is always a great way to support the channel. We love the super chats, and that's wonderful, but merch is a different kind of beast, because not only do you get to support the channel, but you get a little something on the backside too. You get to look super cute in your merch. In that regard, please send us pictures of you with your merch.
Yeah,
we'd love to see them. We would absolutely love to see you out and about with your hoodies, your t-shirts, your pillows, whatever it is that you got, stickers. Let us see. And definitely go to our Discord channel. I try to post something at least 3 or 4 times a week. Today, I posted a thing from Frederick Douglass, right? So Frederick Douglass got an invitation to the dedication of the Washington Monument, right? It's handwritten on the bottom, this beautiful cursive, to Frederick Douglass. This is not, it was like, how cool is that? I think it's like 1885 or somewhere in there. Very cool. And it is absolutely, if you're a history buff, an American history fan, something that you need to see. So Friday, I'm going to post a picture that I almost got kind of arrested for. So Capitol Police, you're not supposed to take pictures in certain places in the U.S. Capitol. And even if you're standing in front of the sign that says don't take a picture, they really, 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 really mean it. So I'll post that picture on Friday so you guys can get a look, for those of you who have not had the opportunity to visit the Capitol yet.
All right, folks. So again, as you come in, hit that like button. It helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience, and subscribe. We are creating a community here of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. So stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. Going to change gears a little bit here, and talk about something Tucker Carlson said recently. So, as you guys know, he has not been a fan of the Iran strikes that President Trump has recently ordered. He actually has not been happy with much of President Trump's foreign policy agenda. He was not on board with the strikes against the nuclear facilities in Iran last year, and he's still going against many of his foreign policy, much of his foreign policy agenda. Well, he makes a different claim this time. Take a look here. This is clip 5.
What people like Levin, whom I'm not attacking, I feel sorry for because he's clearly living in hell, but what they're trying to do is a species of witchcraft. And it's really simple. You repeat something until it becomes true. You speak, you create truth by speaking. In the beginning was the word, right? There's a holy power, there's a supernatural power in words. Describing things is different from simply doing them. And if you can talk reality into being. This is what an incantation is. It's what a spell is. It's not like spooky, like crazy stuff. It's the lived reality of every person. Say it and it becomes true. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. Shills like Pompeo are getting paid from who knows how many different groups to lie to you, and coming across as some sort of moral voice, or poor Mike Huckabee guys like that who are just like under some spell. Let's just be honest about what this is. It's not about Iran's weapons. It's about Israel's ambitions. But there's something deeper. There's like almost a spell. I mean, Huckabee, for example. You really think Huckabee is being threatened? I know Huckabee well. I'm sure you do too. Yes. Nice man. Like, what is this? And I look at him and I see a man under a spell. I mean this, and I'll be mocked for it, but I mean it. There's no practical, conventional explanation for some of this behavior. I mean, I look at Ted Cruz and I'm like, I think I know what's going on. Lindsey Graham, I think I know what's going on. But Mike Huckabee, I think he is under a spell. He is not thinking clearly at all. And so when Mike Huckabee says, and I think Mike Huckabee likes America, or did, but when he stands up and says, God will destroy our country if we don't support Bibi, it's like, how could someone ever say something like that? And I don't know the answer, but I think it's more metaphysical than political.
All right. So let's get into this, because I mean, we're all Christians here, and and things like, and we're political heads. And Christians can absolutely debate foreign policy. We can debate how Americans should interact with Israel. But accusing other believers of being under a spell or practicing witchcraft, Nicole, does that cross the line? What are your thoughts on that exchange?
Yeah, it's crossing the line. Tucker's been far gone for a very long time, for a very, very long time. But he did have some things right. He's right. Power of life and death are in your tongue. Make no mistake. You can speak, as a Christian person, you can speak life into a situation. You can speak death into a situation. He's absolutely right about that. And I think a better example than Mark Levin, who's living an extraordinary life with his wife and his children. Make no mistake, Mark Levin is an absolute rock star conservative by anybody's stretch of imagination. But when you talk about people who are speaking things into existence, you have people like Tucker Carlson. He's speaking this evil into existence, and it's surrounding him. Notice that he's not said that anybody other than him and a couple of other friends are not under this spell. Now, if this spell is called Christianity, he's right. We're all under the spell of the love and the grace and the mercy of Jesus Christ. Absolutely. And the Bible speaks very plainly about what will happen to people who do not protect Israel. Plainly. Not about Bibi. Bibi's a man. He puts his pants on one leg at a time, right? I have a thing with Tucker that I think he's very much enthralled with this. He likes to be on the opposite side of where everyone else is, kind of like Candace does, like Megyn Kelly is starting to do, kind of separating themselves from the herd, just enough to be edgy, just enough to remain popular. But when you start bringing this kind of conversation about God it changes things. Tucker is going to see people walk away from him. The people who were saying, oh, it's just Tucker being Tuck. This is just who he is. When you start saying that, good Christian men, because no one can debate that Mike Huckabee is a stand-up Christian man. No one can debate that. For him to say that Mike Huckabee is under some sort of spell for talking about the protection of Israel from a biblical perspective, there's something very wrong with Tucker Carlson. And the people who follow him, the Christians who follow him, are going to have a hard time trying to make that make sense in their minds and explaining it to other people. He is way off base, and every day he goes deeper and deeper down that rabbit hole. It's sad to see.
Yeah. Shelley, what are your thoughts on that exchange?
So, okay, at first I was a little confused, but I don't think Tucker was saying that Christianity was the spell. I thought he was referring to Israel and the Mike Huckabees. I think he mentioned Levin. I think he was inferring or maybe saying that they were under this Israel spell, that everything that America does, I guess, as it relates to Iran or any kind of wars in the Middle East, that when they say it's because of Israel and we are, I guess, obligated, I think that's what Tucker was saying was the spell, that they view everything through the lens of Israel and not America first. That's what I thought he was saying as I was listening to him. So in that sense, I think that hold on for 1 second, please. Can you please stop the noise? So in that sense, I think that's what Tucker was saying. That's what I got out of it so far. Again, I'm going to go back to, like we said, anybody can debate Israel, United States, Iran, certainly, whatever the geopolitical foreign relations plays are in that. We can do that, and we should do that as an American, as a taxpayer, whatever. We should do that. For, against, not sure, confused, whatever the case may be. So again, I don't understand why. I don't know why people or outside is allowing, or at least to me, placing Megyn Tucker and maybe Candace on this level where that what they say dictates. I don't understand. That's the part I'm still not understanding.
So what he was actually saying was he was pushing back against Christians that support Israel. So he's pushing back against Christians who understand the Bible to believe that there is a covenant with Israel. And he believes that's not the case. And so because there are many Christians that do believe that there is a covenant that God made with Israel, that Jesus is coming back to Israel when he returns, and that we support biblical Israel, he is saying that we as Christians who believe that are hypnotized. That is exactly what he was saying. And so, again, as we do on Christian Conservative, we cite biblical examples, Genesis 12:3 of God's covenant with Abraham, Romans 11, the ongoing role of Israel in God's plan, the 12th Psalm, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Millions of believers have held these views, not just recently, for centuries. Okay. So it's not witchcraft. But he is pushing it. And as Megyn Kelly nodded the whole time, she's obviously agreeing with that. It's not, and they're saying we're under a spell. Christians who believe this are under a spell. That's exactly what he was saying. And that's actually, if you take into context all of the things that they have been saying surrounding this, that is what they were saying. But again, I'm not going to speak for either of you. I'll speak for myself. I am not under witchcraft. That is theology. That is biblical theology that, as I've mentioned, has been held for centuries. Okay. So want to move forward on. So that was one part. As we saw, Megyn Kelly's nodding on and on and agreeing with him. Well, one person that has fallen out with her, which I was actually shocked when I saw this, was Andrew Clavin. So Andrew Clavin, is on the Daily Wire, but he has been the only one, as far as I know, that has sort of disagreed with Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson's posturing surrounding Israel and foreign policy. But he still maintained a friendship with Megyn Kelly. He was still going on there. He came out a couple weeks ago and said that he did disagree. He doesn't agree with what Tucker Carlson was saying, but he still supported Megyn Kelly. He, didn't agree so much with her stance on Erica Kirk, but he was still giving her grace. Well, that's over with. Take a look at this next clip. This is clip 8.
Garbage. And Tucker Carlson is a wicked man. He has become, I don't know if he's become that or was always that. He is a wicked man. And Megyn Kelly has broken my heart by falling for the crap that he's selling, which the words that come out of Tucker's mouth are garbage. They're just not true. They're things that he says. They are not factually true. And, when I went on Megyn Kelly, I said, I don't want to come on your show without talking about this. And she said, I don't want you name checking Tucker because my audience doesn't care about him. So I didn't. I said, I talked about it in vague terms. I talked about Jew haters and conspiracy theorists, meaning Tucker and Candace, but I didn't call them by name. But then she had Tucker on and she falls for what he says. And she says, we're fighting Israel's war, which is simply untrue. It is factually not the case. We are fighting a war that we meant to fight with our natural allies, Israel. And I'm sad to see Megyn, who is a very bright and talented woman. I'm sad to see her going down a dark road. And I'm not going to be able to go on her show unless I talk about this with her directly. But even worse, she's made it look like Ben was right when we argued. I told Ben I didn't think he should call her out. I still think I was right about that, but now it looks like he's right, and that I cannot tolerate. Anyway, I just want to get that out of the way because I think that a lot of people, if you start with this premise that Israel is malignant and is running us, you're going to come to the wrong conclusions because it's factually not the case.
Agreed.
All right. I loved what he said about how the idea that, that the way that everyone is kind of, for lack of better words, pussyfooting around this. I can't say Tucker's name. I can't say Candace's name. But then they say, but I don't agree with it. And I'm going to talk all around it. But I can't say Candace's name. And so apparently that's what he was asked to do when he goes on to Megyn Kelly's show. Don't say Tucker's name. Okay. But yet she will then talk about these issues. And we know that Tucker is the leading voice on this right now. All right. But you can't say Tucker's name. To me, that I don't see how people can do that and go on her show and not push back against it. But that's just me. What are your thoughts on this, Shelley, on what he said?
Again, look, I am not here to defend I'll say defend Tucker, Megyn, or Candace. What I would ask Andrew Clavin, I'm going to play the contrarian here. Well, if he knew all of this, why now? Why is he only talking about it now? Because was he told before by the Daily Wire that, he can't take the opposite approach now? I don't know. I'm just saying, when we talk about these things, I believe, in my never to be humble opinion, all sides, if you will, particularly when it relates to war, Iran, Israel, USA. I believe all the parts, all the sides, for, against, I said, can come to the table. So they can. You don't have to land there, but they can at least be heard. You don't have to agree. Certainly, you don't have to agree. They can be heard. So again, in this arena of social media content creator, my position is that all content creators are making content. That's it. For whatever reason. I mean, Tucker, I guess he believes what he believes. I mean, I think Tucker is a little off on the deep end in a lot of ways, and has been for a couple of years since he left Fox. Megyn Kelly, maybe she is going down that way. Maybe she's exploring. I don't even know about Candace, whatever she's in. To me, she's in a different box by herself. But nevertheless, I don't understand why some people get upset, or I don't know the word for it, because they have these different opinions. They have these opinions. It doesn't mean that they're right. Doesn't mean you have to agree with them. But it doesn't mean, again, that they should not have an outlet for them. Those are their shows. They get to say what they want, just like we do on here.
Nicole, what are your thoughts?
This is the same thing. Do you remember when Candace first started coming after Erica Kirk, shortly after Charlie's death? This was probably day 3 or day 4 when she started kind of, I call bullshit on this kid murdering Charlie, blah, blah, blah. And do you remember how all of the muckety muck said, no, you can't, let's not talk about Candace. Let's not do it. This is them circling the wagons around the people that they think are the universe or the center of the universe, right? And Tucker, for a very long time, has been the center of the universe. Really has. Even after he left Fox, people were so pro Tucker. Tuck is a great guy. Everybody subscribe so we can make sure that this critical voice stays heard. I imagine taking that level of celebrity away from them would be like wrestling a bear with pork chop draws on. You know what I mean? Once people get used to a certain level of popularity and the influence and power and money that comes with it, it's not easy to get them to give it up. It really isn't. So, when you see people finally coming out saying, they told me I couldn't talk about this. They told me I shouldn't say anything. But I'm going to say it anyway because it needs to be said. I think to a large degree, this is that person finally having protected their assets, shored up their reputation, and now they're just going to let it fly. And hopefully they're hoping that other people will join in that chorus. So they're not the only person saying these people are crazy as hell. She's batshit crazy. If there's more than one voice saying that, it gives it power. Kind of like now that Megan's joined in and Tucker's joined in, people are saying, well, Candace is not that, she's a little weird, but she's not crazy. I beg to differ. But people, you want to always give honor and respect to the people who've done it bigger and better than you, right? Because you don't want to get squished in this area. But by that same token, when you see it and you have the opportunity to call it out like Andrew is having right now, call it.
Thank you.
You got to lose.
Absolutely. Otherwise, what do we have this platform for? Now, if you agree with her, fine. That's fine. Absolutely. People who agree, yes, we agree. You agree. But one thing I do know is, a lot of people have come against Ben Shapiro and Daily Wire, and yes, they're content creators. We're content creators. But who's making money off of this stuff? All right. If you look at Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Tucker Carlson, their audiences have gotten larger. Okay. Why have they gotten larger? Well, they've realized that playing the fence on this stuff is now opening them up to leftists, opening them up to other audiences. And so they're going to continue to grift.
Yeah. That's Muslims, Islamists. Yes.
Yes. Islamists. Yes.
They're growing the brand.
Exactly. So they're not going to come out against this because she's making a lot of money off of this. Ben Shapiro had a great show on this the other day talking about this. Now on the Daily Wire, they have voices on all sides, and everyone has their line when, okay, I can't stay silent anymore. I got to say something. Because prior to all this, many of these people were very friendly amongst one another. Okay. But when, the only one who was calling it out from the very beginning, after Charlie Kirk died, was Ben Shapiro. He was, pushing back against them. But now you're seeing more and more people come out because these people, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, they have gone really low. Like, I mean, people are saying, okay, I was trying to stay quiet, because of the friendship, because of the professionalism we have outside of content creating. I can't do it anymore. You crossed the line. All right. Yeah. And we saw that with Matt Walsh. We saw that now with Andrew Clavin. And many more, Dan Bongino. So, people are starting to push back against this, and I'm happy for it. I am happy for it.
Let me ask this question. What if Andrew Clavin had come out to say, you know what, all this time, maybe I was quiet or a little quiet, whatever, but actually I believe Megan or I'm on her side? What would we be saying tonight? Would we be saying, oh, he's a grifter? Well, I'm just saying, all I'm saying is that this is content creation as well. I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing.
I don't get your point.
my point is that it could work in the opposite way too. Had he said the opposite of what we're talking about tonight, we would be calling him, or many of people on the right at least would be saying, "Oh, he's a grifter. He's going down the dark." We would be saying that. We wouldn't be giving him the praises because he happens to agree, or that Megyn maybe, or Tucker certainly.
Well, can you give me an example of somebody who has done that?
No, I'm saying if Andrew had done that, the opposite we would not be giving him the opposite accolades because it wouldn't agree with whatever it is position that we're taking, or that's being taken mostly on the right. That's number one. Number two, I think part of this is I might be wrong, but this is what I think. I think part of this with Candace, Megyn, and Tucker, certainly, I think conservatives on the right, I think they're angry, they're upset, maybe even embarrassed, because they largely supported them from the beginning. They just supported them right off the bat. Certainly, well, Tucker was already in the news, but Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly to a degree when she left NBC. But I think they are embarrassed. They feel like they have been given the finger. Like, we supported you guys. You were on our side, and now you are basically giving us the finger, and we're angry. We feel slapped in the face. I get it.
Why would they feel slapped in the face?
Because they're not. Candace, Tucker, I think Megyn has said, we're not conservatives anymore. I'm not a MAGA. Certainly Candace, and now Tucker to some degree, they are poo-pooing Trump, his policy.
Why would conservatives be upset about that?
Because conservatives largely supported them from the beginning.
Because what? Why did conservatives report them?
Because they were speaking conservative ease.
Right.
Exactly. Now they feel like they were bamboozled, if you will.
I guess so. They were. I don't know if they were bamboozled. I think what has happened, again, as I mentioned, these people are out for the dollar, the almighty dollar. And they probably have some type of conservatism in their bodies. But when they were sort of what what's his name was saying, poet, Love the Poet.
Show love.
Show love, right.
Mm-hmm.
What happens is, and this is something that we all in life, I believe, we will face. You come to a crossroads and you have to make a tough decision.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not you will stand by your convictions, or if you're going to chase the almighty dollar. And that question is brought to all of us in different scenarios, different ways. Who's going to stand by their convictions, or who is going to say, I'd rather be bought and paid for? That's what it is. And so conservatives are probably shocked, upset, maybe be hurt. People are really, down with these people and stuff, because they realize that these people were bought. And the conservative movement is generally, especially the people on the ground, they really believe in the stuff they say, and they don't believe that they can be bought. This is like the Tea Party movement and things like that. So when you see someone who you've been following for years, and now they have sold out, that's what they sold out. Of course you're going to have people upset. Sellouts, just like Ali said. Yeah, they sold out. So you're going to have people upset. Rightfully so, I believe. That's just me.
Yeah. I just feel like, in this particular space, the thing that conservatives do, unfortunate, but the things that conservatives do is, for them, there can only be one number one. There's not enough space on the winner bench for everybody. So what will it take to bump the next person? What will it take? What will it take to knock Candace off her perch? Will Megyn become the new Candace? This is like a what they used to call them back in the soap opera. It's like One Life to Live, but conservative voices. All of this, I would like to say, brought to you by the death of a great man. And everybody's coming for a pinch of the dollars. I can tell you.
Yeah.
I can tell you, we were at Heritage Foundation, great place, amazing place. And to see Ben Shapiro talk about his book, Lions and Scavengers, great book. Amazing read, absolutely amazing read. It's even amazing on audiobook because he reads it himself to you. So it's a really good book. And he walked up to the microphone after Dr. Roberts had asked him a couple of questions, gave him this great intro. Ben walks up, and the very first thing out his mouth is he took Tucker Carlson down to Funky Town. He chopped his butt up and left nothing but the chalk outline. Now, Dr. Roberts and Tucker are very good friends. So much so that Dr. Roberts jumped into an internet argument Tucker was having with someone else and brought the Heritage Foundation with him to kind of cause a kerfluffle at Heritage. But with him sitting there in Dr. Roberts' house, Ben did not mince his words. And you know, he talks about 150 words a second. He let it fly. We were like sitting there and our bangs were being blown back in your face. He let him have it. And then he sat down again with Dr. Roberts and allowed Dr. Roberts to ask him about his book. And then he explained why he did what he did. Because when you go low and you attack my family and you attack my faith, you can expect righteous indignation. And that's exactly what he gave him. He gave him 2 heaping handfuls of it. It was a thing of beauty because he didn't attack him personally. He talked about the politics of the thing and how people grow and how people change. And we can expect adult people to still grow and change. It is perfectly reasonable to think that Candace Owens, who started out a rabid Democrat, became a rabid Republican, and is now rabidly about her dollar. We can do that. That's growth. It may not be the growth we choose, but that's the growth that she's chosen. Why are we mad? It's interesting content. I'll give you that, Shelley. It's interesting to watch. I feel bad for the people, though, who put these people above the things in their life, in front of their God, in front of their families, in front of their children. There's a space in your life, folks, for people who do this. It's not higher than maybe popcorn at a movie, maybe sitting at a red light, but it should not be your end all be all. It should not be the people who help you form your life circumstances. It's entertainment, folks. And if you don't learn anything from this post-Charlie part of conservatives, podcasting and entertainment, you should know it is simply entertainment. Don't build your life on this. Don't build your life on this foolishness.
All right. I know we have some super chatters here.
Yes, we have who are we have here first?
Deborah.
Is that Deborah? Deborah Richards Jones again. Thank you, Deborah, for becoming a new member of our Freedom
thank you,
Seekers
Deborah.
Club. Thank you so much. We also have, I can't see them very. Okay, is this Kia?
Yeah,
Kia
Walker.
Kia Walker. Okay. We have
Kia
thank you for your thank you for your $5 super chat, Kia, and for being a member of our Freedom Seekers Club. She says Tucker doesn't know the word. He's using Christianity as a shield for his deception. The grifters want to supplant Protestantism and remake the right. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Kia got some points on that one.
Thank you, Kia. Don't forget, everybody, again, last round, here we go. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Go to our Discord for some more chats and comments, if you will, and go to www.Metro Conservative Media, one-stop shopping for all of your merchandise for every show on the platform.
All right, folks. So that does it for us tonight, but want to close out tonight's show with this really good clip, folks. This is David and Mary Hubert. They were in Atlanta. They live in Atlanta. Were watching movies and their house was broken into. But this does not go the way you think. We'll be back. We'll be back on Wednesday at 8 p.m. So please don't forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe. We will be back on Wednesday, but we want to leave you with this clip. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. This is clip 6.
David and Mary Hubert have lived in their house in Garden Hills for more than 20 years and say they have never had any issues with crime until Monday night. They were watching movies on different floors of their house around 7 when a man barged into the bottom floor and threatened David.
You walk to somebody that's in your house and you say, "Can I help you?" And they say, "Get out. This is my house. Get out of my house." And they're cursing and belligerent.
David was able to quickly lock himself into a room and call 911. Meanwhile, Mary heard the commotion from upstairs, so she quickly grabbed her gun from under her pillow and hid.
Got my sweet Jane.
That's the name of her 38.
And waited. He didn't know where I was. And I could see from the mirrors in the bathroom, from my view, I could see if anybody came in.
David stayed on the phone with Atlanta police until they arrived, not knowing where Mary was. Meanwhile, David says the suspect was going room to room through their house.
Apparently he was upstairs smoking and wandering around the house, and he had taken all the family pictures and turned them over face down.
When police arrived, David was able to get out, but he still couldn't reach Mary for more than an hour.
I don't know what her status is. I don't know where she is, but I know she's capable of defending herself, and that if anybody ever broke in, they better hope they get me and not Mary.
Police arrested the suspect and cleared the scene. Strangely enough, their dog, Bobby, slept through the entire 3-hour ordeal.
We're giving her an F for the dog, and Mary gets an A, and I'll take a C.
And now, the Huberts tell me they're grateful to Atlanta police, but mostly to God, that they both made it out alive.
I was